All right. Hey, and we're live. Going live. I'm here with David Feeder, a hero and electronic friend of mine, and some other guy
Hold on.
in a Santa hat. We got gangster rapper.
That's gonna be on. That's every stream I do from now on until Christmas. We're gangster wrapping it up, fellas. W's. Yeah. How's life,
Awesome.
man? What's going on, David? First time I met you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Doing good. Enjoying this
Yeah.
dip, you know.
There's a link to this, right? I can share this out, right? Yeah, share. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, I got it. Cool.
You guys got a link to share that out? I just tweeted really quickly that we're going live.
Oh, I'll just retweet.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
That'll be the easy way to do it. So before we get started, I just wanted to remind people that Rags to Riches is doing his Christmas drive. So he's taking donations and being accountable for everything they send him, and he's going to bless the socks off of a family in his hometown, and he's going to try to get it recorded and bring that to you guys. So go over to his channel and actually, if you want to put your link in the chat, for sure, people can click on that and they can contribute to a family this holiday season. So I think that's great.
Standing. Thank you. We've had tremendous support. I think in like 10 days we raised like $5,000. So I'm just at this point, like I'm not really showing it as much just because like I don't want to come across in a way that's like, I don't know. I just want to be really careful. That's a lot of money and we're going to record it. I've got the video editing already. We're going with that. I'm trying to figure out how to deliver it. So at first it was like, I'm going to go buy a bunch of Christmas presents and wrap them up, this and that. But now I just kind of want to take like a stack of like $1 bills and just be like, hey, bro, Merry Christmas. Give him the first stack and watch him freak out. And then like, he'd be like, thanks so much. And be like, oh, there's more. Hit another stack on the table, hit another stack on the table. So we might do something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but it's going to be awesome. And we will have a video for everybody in the community to share with people that they know. And they can say, hey, listen, I'm part of this community. This is what we did for this family because everybody donated and it's a good thing. So I think it's just going to be really great in general. Thank you for allowing me to talk about that Hexray vision.
You bet. And do you guys see us on YouTube yet? I'm just making sure we're actually live and that StreamYard's not lying to me.
Let's check. Hexray. Are you in here?
We might be live and it might be private. It's private and it's live. Oh. So we're going to change it. All right, here we go. So now we're public.
That was a good warm-up.
That was a really good warm-up.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We've been talking amongst ourselves for 5 minutes thinking that we were live, but we're not. So Hexray, David, like I said before, great to see you. I have no idea who you really are. Well, I heard your video, your testimonial, which was awesome. And then I've come across you on Twitter a couple times too. So great to be here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
It's good to be here.
And I got to show everybody this because I showed everybody this earlier. So this is like the Matrix. Here we go. The glitch, gangster rapper. You guys are going to be seeing that quite a bit. All right. So you tweeted that out. Did you tweet the link on your Twitter?
No, I haven't yet. I was waiting to see it on YouTube so that I could copy the actual one. But it does show live on my phone. So at least I can watch us on my phone.
I see it.
So that's good. That's good news. So I'm gonna post that on Twitter as well.
Outstanding. Cool. And I will post it as well, and we will be good to go. All right, awesome. Fellas.
And let me repeat the same thing I already started with. Please contribute to Ragstoriches' Christmas drive that he's got going on right now to bless the socks off of a local family, as he says it. I don't know why he wants their socks off, but he's in defeat, and he's going to go there and bless their socks off of
Why
them.
did you? The question is, why did you go there? I expected nothing less. David Fetter, yeah, you got the shield. That's right. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So we raised, like I told them before, we raised about $5,000, over $5,000 in a matter of like 10 days, which is awesome. And currently, I haven't been pushing as much because now we're spending the money on this and that. We're getting the presents. We're trying to figure out. We're doing the video production. We're trying to figure out if we're just going to drop fat stacks of cash on this guy and just record it, or we're going to do like a Christmas tree type thing. I bought a Santa outfit like I promised, and this is actually the hat that came in the Santa outfit. So I'll do that for you guys. So it'll be good. Shooting maybe for a day or two before Christmas, but we'll see. So thank you. My information will be in the link in this video for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so come on there. And then if you've ever watched a Hex tutorial and found yourself weeping uncontrollably, it was most likely our guest, David Feeders, where he talked about the huge improvement that Hex has made on his life when he paid off his student debt. And so that's the first time that I saw David was on that Hex testimonial. And I was just sharing that everywhere I could.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, that was kind of the first time I came out in public in the community. That was a DM to Richard, and then and then he loved it so much he wanted it on the website. So here I am.
Wow.
Yeah, it's scary the first time putting yourself out there, and then and in your case, you got a lot more exposure on your first time out than most of us did when we put out a little video.
Yeah.
Shout out to Pulse Lord in the chat. Good to see you.
Pulse Lord, what's up? What's up?
I watched your I'm not sure if it was your video I think it was your video with Corey and Investor that you guys did, where you guys are talking about the stuff going down in Miami, and it was really, really sweet. So check out Pulse Lord's rap video that he dropped on Twitter this morning. So let's get into it. I am always looking for someone really smart to explain to me what is actually going on with the code. Because to me, I just see the fees. I learn how to click the buttons on Metamask, go.hex.com, and Uniswap, and that's it. Like I get comfortable with that, and then I try to help people learn that. But I have no clue what's going on behind the scenes, what's going on in the code, and what it takes to make that stuff run. So I'm always looking for someone with a big brain like David Feeder to come on his streams and videos, which I've watched, where he breaks it down and says, okay, this is what this other language means in normal speak, right? And so what are the questions that you get the most being a big brain, David?
Most of the questions I get are technical and mostly about delegating and validating right now. And I wish we had the answers. Sadly, the smart contract for the 33 delegating or validator servers, right? That I'm hoping to run one of. I'm trying. So that's what I'm kind of focusing on. That's the big deal. And there's a lot of question marks around it too, because we're still waiting for version 2 of the testnet before we can try it. So once that comes out, then we'll know so much more about how Pulse Chain will actually work. So I'm really excited to check that out soon and discover how it works and how you vote and how do you register a server. Yeah, that's what I'm into. I'm into the nerdy stuff behind the scenes. So that's the biggest questions I get today is all about Pulse Chain.
Awesome. And what happens when someone forks a network? Can you put that into layman speak of what exactly is going on the code level when Pulse forks Ethereum's network? What exactly is going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, so So basically, and you said it perfectly, it is a fork. I know that I just want to clear up right now, a lot of people are throwing around the word snapshot, and that doesn't apply. There is no snapshot. It's a fork. And Richard's eventually going to tell us the Ethereum block number of the fork. So we'll just pretend, call it Ethereum block 15 million. On that moment, once Ethereum's 15th million block gets mined, and if Richard chooses that to be the one, when we're ready, by fork, it'll be, all right, Ethereum will keep going. And then that's when the Pulse validator servers will turn on and they'll start mining their own blocks. And that'll be the split in time. Right.
So is it kind of like a mile marker on a road? Like, let's say I'm headed down the freeway, and at a certain mile marker, that's when the road's going to split, where you're going to be able to take an off ramp and go on another chain, kind of like that.
Perfect analogy. That's brilliant. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, once we hit mile 100 on the highway, it splits, and you can go east or you can go west now, and it splits, and that'll be Pulse chain and then ETH. Yep, exactly.
And at that moment on that block that the fork happens, that's when the cloning happens, right? With everyone. So like whatever tokens are in your private wallet at that block are going to be immediately cloned.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Perfect. 100%. That's exactly how it works.
Awesome. That makes a lot more sense because, some of us that have been in Hex, we had a snapshot of the Bitcoin blockchain, and that was where you got your freemium Hex from owning Bitcoin, but you didn't receive it at that same time. And so that's why I think a lot of people, myself included, were thinking there was like different steps to this process, but you're saying it's going to happen all at once.
Yeah, correct. Yep. And Richard will be able to choose that exactly when, whatever the block number is in ETH, he'll pick it. Yep, but that's it. You hit the nail on the head.
Awesome. Okay, so we've got Angus Bullock in the chat. We got Valiant Brand, who is everywhere and nowhere at once. He's
Legend.
Like the holy trinity of Hex. Like every time I show up in anywhere, he's there just being awesome and friendly. So awesome.
Hey, David,
awesome.
let me ask you a question here. And you were mentioning this earlier, and we can clarify this for folks. In terms of, use the word validators. So for chat and the people who are watching this, what is a validator and what's the significance of that with regards to Pulse?
Yeah, sure. Yep. So for Pulse chain, we're going to have validators, and there's only 33 of them. And those are just Linux servers. It's just a computer. It's like a desktop, right? And there's only 33 based on whoever has the most Pulse in their wallets. Like that, you got to be in the top 33 rich list, basically. And then you have to run these servers. And then those 33 servers take turns in a circle mining the next block of Pulse chain. And because it's proof of stake, right? So we're getting away from the video cards and Ethereum mining like it is today. So you got to have a server and probably a cluster or a bunch of them. Then you're going to have to run the Pulse chain software. Then you have to put Pulse inside of it. It actually makes a wallet inside the server. You have to send Pulse to that. That's the validator. And then you have to go sign up on the website for the staking. And then if you have enough money, and then if you get other people to delegate and vote for you, which, delegating is just voting. If they vote you up enough, you get in that top 33. That's how you earn the right to mine blocks, and you earn that 75% of the fees.
Outstanding. So in prior to that, we talk about proof of stake and proof of work quite a bit. What we did before was proof of work, which we kind of took the mining responsibilities and we spread it out amongst anybody who could do it or had a machine to do it. And we didn't really centralize it as much, if we want to use that word. What's the advantage of having 33 validators as opposed to spreading it out over thousands or hundreds of thousands of people doing that same job?
Yeah, Richard's touched on this in past videos. I'll quote him. He's basically said, the more validators you have, let's say you had 1,000, it's much more likely that as it goes around the 1,000 and somebody's turn comes up, out of 1,000 servers, one of them is probably going to suck. Maybe slow internet, maybe it's laggy or it crashes. So it increases the chance more you're going to have blocks missed, and you're going to have a rougher time because there's more computers waiting, and they're not all going to be great. So
Cool. So it's basically when you have it this way, you can vet people, and those people who are vetted properly, they will have the equipment, and the network will be, I guess, more stable, more reliable, etc. Correct?
that's the idea. Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You want the 33 people who are running the validator servers to be serious about it. You better have dual fiber internet with redundancy. You better have a generator. You better have multiple servers like behind me. It's legit. This isn't a joke. You're not just running this on your, on your desktop or your laptop. It's got to be like heavy metal.
And I like the fact that it's competitive too. Like you have to have the equipment, you have to put up the money, you have to do all the work to even be considered, and even then you may not be. So I like the competitive aspect of it. That's awesome.
Yeah. Because even myself, I think I'm the only person that I know of going online saying, "Hey, I want to be a validator. Please vote for me." I haven't heard that from anybody else. But even still, I mean, there's people who've
hold on a second. I'm gonna tweet myself out real quick. Hi guys, I want to be a validator. Screw David. Is that fair?
You would be the first. Congratulations. Welcome aboard.
That's awesome. Now what is at risk for a validator if they don't do their job correctly? What's their skin in the game?
So I don't know all the details yet, but in the smart contract, I've seen there's penalties. There's misdemeanors, there's felonies, and then you get slashed. And slashed means they literally delete the pulse out of your wallet.
Whoa.
What?
So if I go offline, if I miss my turn at a 33 and then I miss another turn and my server's just dead, then eventually, my pulse just starts deleting out of my own wallet and you just lose everything. Yeah, it's serious. Yeah, it's high risk.
Wow. And so like with proof of work, you're basically risking the cost of the equipment and the electricity that you use running hashes on a video card, from what I understand, right? And so in this one, you're basically putting your money where your mouth is, and you say, look, I'm going to perform and I'm going to do my job right, or I'm going to lose money.
Yeah, could be millions of pulse. Yeah, let's just pretend I start my validator with 1 million pulse. That's my money that I put in, and then people can vote for me and delegate on top. And we don't know for sure yet, but I think the delegators and people who vote, their pulse is never at risk. So if you want to make more pulse for free, you can just vote for a validator, and I don't think I don't think a delegator gets slashed, even if they go offline, the person you vote for. So I think voting is safe, but running a server as a validator, that's where you could lose if you go offline. Yeah.
And what are you hoping to get as a validator? You're hoping to get a piece of those fees on the Pulse Chain network. Is that correct?
Correct. Because Pulse Chain has 0 inflation after the fork. If you sacrifice and you get your pulse, that's it. That sacrifice list of the only people that are ever going to get pulse minted to them. The only other way to get pulse after without buying it is to either validate or delegate. That's it. There's no other way to get pulse. There's not going to print anymore. You know what I mean?
Awesome. Shout out to Caitlin Benet in the chat, Emery, Chase Jonathan, and of course, good old Balliot Brand. He's everywhere. And also Daniel Polk says, good evening, keep going with this focused information. And keeping with this focused information, I remember me and Rags were in a very serious interview earlier. And he was saying,
whenever you get serious, I know it's bullshit. Go ahead.
He was saying, what makes, because we hear Pulse Chain is going to be cheaper and it's going to be faster. How is it going to be cheaper and how is it going to be faster? Can you answer that? And why?
Yeah, when the chain starts off on Pulse Chain, the gas price is just going to be 1 gwei on day one. And then so that's awesome, right? So that's way better than ETH, because ETH is like 100 gwei on average right now.
Yeah, on a good day.
Yeah, on a good day.
On a bad day, it's like 300 or 400 ETH or gwei.
Yep. So we start at 1 gwei, so that's as low as it goes. And then because there's so much Pulse, it's it's way more plentiful than Ethereum. The price of one Pulse should be cheap. So let's just pretend a Pulse is at a penny, and then you only have to spend one Gwei of a penny. It's like dust. It's like nothing. You'll be able to do transactions on Pulse Chain for virtually no cost. It'll be almost free. You can make a stake in Hex. You could send Hex. You could swap. You could do everything for nothing in the beginning. So that's why it'll be so cheap.
Oh my God, David, you said Pulse is going to be 1 penny. Everybody tweeted out Pulse is 1 penny day one. Day one.
That's high. It's probably going to be way less than that. It's probably be Pulse itself will probably be a fraction of a penny, and then gas is a fraction of that fraction. So it's like nothing.
You're a paid shill, David. You're a paid shill.
So with the fees being so cheap, I'm guessing that the validators are betting on a large volume of trading going on right off the bat, because you guys are getting fractions of a fraction of a penny, but there's so many transactions you guys are expecting to go down on this network that you're still coming away with a profit.
And those numbers are all question marks right now. Yeah, I don't. Maybe it'll be quiet at the beginning. Maybe there won't be a lot of transactions. Maybe there will. Not. It's definitely a gamble. It's definitely high risk. To be a validator, like I'm going to buy some servers and all this equipment. I have no guarantee of recouping these costs. Like as far as I'm concerned, like the first year could be charity, and I'm running at a loss. And then as the price of me, I'm doing it because I think the price of Pulse is going to appreciate. Start at a fraction of a penny, and then Pulse will be a penny, and then 2 cents, and just like Hex, right? It'll start low and rise over time. So I'm doing
really,
this for the future.
The validators, in a way, are dollar cost averaging into a supply of Pulse, if you want to think about it that way. Because even if the price goes down, you're still accumulating, just like someone buying it DCAing off a market, you could say.
Totally. Yeah.
That's a lot of belief in the project right there.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to be a validator, you definitely have to believe in Pulse, and you definitely have to be technical. So yeah, it's like a job.
It sounds like a massive upfront cost. I mean, it's not a small amount.
Yeah.
Of money here.
It's not.
What do you guys think the requirement is for a validator at this point? Have you heard?
I mean, I've been designing all sorts of servers and computers and figuring out what parts do I literally want to buy, because I don't want to go to the cloud. I'm not doing Amazon. I'm not doing Microsoft Azure. Like all the hardware is going to be, I can see it. I bought it. It's mine. I know where it lives. I can touch it. Like, I'm not relying on any middlemen for my stuff. So, I don't know. It depends how many servers you buy. Like in these pictures behind me, I'm going to need a cluster, right? Like if one dies, I need another one ready to go, like a hot spare. So I could spend as much as I want, but I don't know. That's a tough question. Not sure yet.
What about subcontracting this? Let's say I've got a chunk of money and I want to be a validator, but I'm not a nerd. Are there nerds for hire that have these setups? I remember back in the day, Dash had a very similar system where they had, the super nodes that would
Master
make
nodes.
a lot of the,
You could
they
pay
were the
somebody else
master nodes.
to rent you a master node.
Exactly. Do you see a lot of people going in on master nodes or on the validators in Pulse?
I don't, because you could just go to the website and delegate. You don't have to do that. Why expose yourself to that third-party risk? Because maybe there's guys who I'll rent you a Pulse validator, and then I can just drain it whatever I want. I'll just suck the Pulse out of it later and just rug pull you. So like that'd be I wouldn't do that. That's high risk.
So that would be like cloud mining back in the day. There's a lot of people that gave their control of their computer and their hash power to cloud mining, and the cloud mining guys would just claim, we only made this much Bitcoin, but really they made a lot more. Or they would claim to be mining one coin when in fact they're actually mining another coin with your server, right? So that counterparty risk is really important for people to understand.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why cloud mining is a scam. Exactly. Yeah, they just steal your money. Yep.
Shout out to Sandy and Sensei Sensei Dozy. Do you know Sensei Dozy? He's part of the R2R gang.
No, I've never met that individual. In fact, he's not part of my Telegram or my Twitter, and I don't know why he's claiming my game, but I don't really appreciate it.
Is
We'll
there a
talk later,
secret?
Sensei.
Is there a secret code word or a handshake to join the R2R gang?
Yeah, all you have to do is this.
All right, I'm really glad we're bringing this up to a professional level now. We're going to
Bringing it
the
up.
next
Only
question.
going
Like
down from here, brother.
the second question, David, is why is it that Pulse can be so much faster than the Ethereum network?
Oh, well, it's a great question. I don't know how in the software the blocks get timed to 3 seconds, but I think it's just a variable you set in the software. I think you just literally, it's just a number and you put it in there and you say we want blocks to be 3 seconds, and that's how fast the servers will churn them out. So
Okay,
you could adjust that, right? Like you could make it 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15. You just turn the knob in the software and it does what you want.
Right, and so basically it's up to the validators to keep up with that 3 seconds.
Correct. Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Now it should be different than part of the reason like Bitcoin and Ethereum take a little longer is because of the proof of work. The video cards have to like find the answer, and the difficulty gets higher, right? When you're mining with the video cards, that's why like 2 years later your video card's not as good because it's just harder to find the answer. That's artificial difficulty. In Pulse Chain, there won't be any difficulty. The server, when it's the validator's turn, it finds the block in like 1 second. It's like not hard for the server to do it, right? Because the difficulty's so low. We don't care about difficulty. We just want these 33 dudes to mine blocks over and over and over. So it's just easier. That's why.
Right, and from a security aspect, you would have to have a majority of those 33 validators collude and get together and decide to try and thwart the network or try to mess it up and write the wrong stuff on to the chain. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep. You'd have to get a collusion of the top 33, which is infinitely unlikely unless they're all controlled by one person. But that's not likely either.
Right, and myself and a lot of people are believing that the OA is going to be a handful of those 33, validators, and so
I think 3.
The chances of talking the OA into misleading or putting incorrect information on the blockchain is slim to none.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
basically zero.
Exactly. Just like Richard says, why would he destroy his own bags? Why would he destroy his own creation? So absolutely. And I personally do not expect Richard to do all 33 validators. Why would he want that headache? Why would he want that cost? It's he's going to hire a bunch of teams and put hundreds of thousands of dollars of expenses on his credit card and Amazon bills, because he's doing that for free right now with the test net. Richard's running 3 servers in Amazon, and he's paying for that shit on a freaking credit card, and it's hundreds of thousands of dollars that he's doing out of pocket. So Richard's already investing a lot of cash into Pulse Chain. So yeah, I don't see him doing them all, but a couple for sure.
Right, and obviously you got into the sacrifice phase for Pulse.
Yes.
Right, as a lot of people did.
Yep,
and I'm wondering, and I did too. So for the people that sacrificed, what do they need to do when it goes live? And the people that didn't sacrifice, what do they need to do?
So for the people who already did sacrifice, they really don't have to do anything. Once the fork happens, your MetaMask will be airdropped Pulse on the Genesis block. So the first block of Pulse Chain, that should be the system handing out airdropping everybody the Pulse. So you don't have to do anything. If you did not sacrifice, and let's say you're brand new, what you should do then is you should prepare your MetaMask wallet, and you should get a collection of whatever ERC20s you'd like to get a free copy of. Like Hex, for example. If somebody has nothing today, I'd recommend buying a little bit of Hex, as much as you can afford. Put it in your MetaMask and hold on to it. And then when Pulse Chain comes out, you get a free copy. And that's it. You just have to kind of sit and wait.
Awesome. Daniel Polke says, and I don't know if it's Polk or Polke, but we'll say both. It's right now testnet's running at an average of 4.6 seconds for one block. He hopes version 2 is going live soon. And then let's see what has to happen for version 2 to go live. And then also, if you could walk us through setting up your custom RPC to try out the testnet on your MetaMask if you'd like to.
Yeah, totally. Yep. So first part of the question was version 2. We're just waiting for the official announcement from Richard. They're going to, I don't know if they're going to fully wipe their Amazon servers and then restart them up from scratch with all the patches and updates they've done. So it'll kind of be like a full reset. We're almost like version 1 of the testnet's going to be deleted, and then we're all going to start over with version 2. And then I have to restart my validators. I have to re-download the blockchain. We're like starting from scratch again, but with a lot of patches and upgrades built in.
Okay, so they're just waiting for that. That's just basically
Just
needs to be rolled out. We're not waiting for anything code-wise to start V2.
Not that I'm aware of. Correct. Yep.
Okay, cool. And then setting up an RPC, the people in chat are a lot of them sounds like they have already been playing on testnet. What is it like setting up the testnet on your MetaMask? What does that entail?
Yeah, super easy. The instructions are on the gitlab.com/pulsechaincom. And basically all you do is right at the top of MetaMask, it says Ethereum mainnet. And there's a little drop-down button. So you click on Ethereum mainnet, and then you scroll down, you go down to the bottom where it says add a network. And then it'll pop up asking for the name and the URL and the chain ID, and just type in all the stuff from the GitLab.
Okay, and so that was GitLab. Here's the Pulse Chain GitLab. I'm going to try to put this actually in the comments while we're on here if anyone wants to check that out. So you said go to GitLab Pulse Chain. So I'm on this right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then where do I go?
/pulsechaincom.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm there right now. And then where would I go from there? Group information, issues.
Then you're going to click on the Pulse Chain Testnet. Do you see that in the the options there when you're on the main screen?
There's group information, issues, merge requests, package, and registry. So maybe I'm just not on the right screen, but
yeah, if you just click on Pulse Chain right above group information.
Oh, there we go.
And then it should say subgroups and projects in the middle, and then the bottom one is called Pulse Chain Testnet. Okay. It's a repository.
There we go. Pulse Chain Testnet. Got it.
So you click on that and then scroll down, and it even has a screenshot of MetaMask right here with all the directions.
Boom, there it is. Yeah, so I'm actually just gonna put this, share this link right in the chat right now. And then we can add it to the notes later when we edit this.
Perfect. So I had a question pop up. They're asking, curious about for those who've sacrificed, you can see your balances on many different websites right now, more or less. The question was, does it include the multiplier, the balances that are there currently?
I do not know the answer to that. Yeah. I'm not sure.
I don't think it does, but I'm not sure either. I saw in one of the spreadsheets that they did have some type of like a multiplier credit on one of the right-hand columns, but it didn't look like it made sense mathematically. So I was curious about that too. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, they've been real quiet on it. So nothing official yet.
Cool. And another thing that Richard said for, let's say you sacrificed a good amount of money for Pulse and you want to continue to play this awesome game that we're all playing. Richard spoke about Pulse Swap or whatever it's going to be called. It's going to be a decentralized exchange on the Pulse network. There will be a sacrifice phase, and he let us know that sacrifice phase will probably be about a couple weeks before mainnet launch. So there's two really cool things there. The first thing, if people are wondering when mainnet's going to launch, we'll pretty much know, okay, because Pulse Swap will be announced. and secondly, if you do have the opportunity to get into Pulse Swap, I mean, I don't really see a reason not to, especially when you look at maybe the top 10 or the top 20 decentralized exchanges, and the amount of money that those have made quite a few people. And then the other thing is, with the cool thing, 9,000 people had addresses on Ethereum at its inception. 9,000 addresses compared to 64,000 locked in on day one, right? With Pulse. That's massive. And then if you look at DEXs, a decentralized exchange, really the only one that's going to be there. I mean, it's not going to be the only one, but that's huge opportunity. If you want to get some more exposure to this ecosystem, you would go the Pulse Swap route.
Yep, absolutely. I think that'll be a great buying opportunity.
Yes.
So what pieces are we waiting to put together for Pulse Chain to go live in the next, month, 2 months, 3 months?
Yeah. So Pulse Swap sacrifice, that'll be a leading indicator. And then we need the validator, delegator, smart contract tested. You got to try voting for servers, got to make sure that works, make sure all 33 servers can mine blocks. So we need that. That's critical because that makes the network work. Without that, we can't mine blocks. We don't have Pulse Chain. So that's huge. The bridge to Ethereum, which Richard has hinted is like mostly done. Like the code's there. It does have admin keys, which is, regrettable and sad, but there is no bridge without them. And I forget what one of the other criteria was. I mean, those are the key ones.
Yeah.
And do you think that the validators will be on V2 or will that be V3? That they do the validators and the delegating your votes?
Yeah, that's part of why we have to. That's why version 2 is coming out. It's actually broken right now. In version 1, you can't register your server to mine blocks. Only Richard's 3 are doing it, and they're stuck. We can't add anybody to the list, so that's why we're doing version 2 because they've fixed the bugs in the software.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, see, this is all stuff that no one would even know is going on behind the scenes unless they sat down with someone like you. So again, thank you very much for coming on and answering these questions. If anyone's got questions, put them in the chat and we'll toss them at Dave. Sandy B says she's got an itch. Rags answered that with Valtrax. So I want to say thank you for your service, Rags to Riches.
I think Sandy B's a dude, by the way. Like, no joke, it's a picture of a guy. So.
That don't mean shit these days, David. No, come on.
Welcome to the internet.
Are you male, female, or custom? I'm just going to choose custom from now on.
The other thing I'm realizing right now is that I get like 3 people commenting in my chat, and usually it's relatives telling me that my microphone's not on. And now I actually have enough people trolling in here to where I may someday get big enough to need some mods in the chat. I don't actually even know how to make someone a mod yet, so
it's just /mod we'll figure that out. And then their username.
That's all I got to do.
I think so. I think yes, it's the /mod and then space and then the person's name you want to make a mod. I think pretty sure.
We need to freeze David's brain and put it in a laboratory and download it and study it and talk to it.
Oh man, I do need to stream more. I don't do a lot of streams, sadly. I'm always here. I'm behind the keyboard, but I don't turn the camera on a lot because
we just got to pull you out, man. We got to force him to do it, Hexray.
Yeah,
you got knowledge that needs to be shared. You're like a walking hard drive on legs. All right. Good.
You're like Alexa, but way less nosy into my business.
And I promise I won't sell you out to the NSA like Alexa will.
Thank you very much. Awesome. All right, cool. So when they finally get Pulse Chain launched, is there a way to stop projects from building on top of Pulse Chain, or is it literally code where anyone can write code that interacts with the Pulse Chain network?
Yeah, anybody can make a smart contract on Pulse Chain, just like Ethereum. You cannot be stopped. if you've got Pulse, you can do whatever actions you want. It is permissionless and trustless. And even me as a validator, I couldn't stop you. Even if I tried to manipulate the blocks, it won't work because the other validators are they'll vote me out for manipulating the blocks. So you can do whatever you want. And that being said, let me give one warning to everybody listening. There will be a lot of scams and rug pulls. There's going to be a lot of shit coins that get invented, and they're going to be in Pulse Swap, and we can't stop them. And man, buyer beware. Don't trade your Pulse for a shit coin. You're going to regret it. And that's all I got to say on that.
And isn't that where the value of the community comes in? Because as a community, I've seen two different reactions to potential projects wanting to build onto the Pulse chain. And one is people that are holding them to a high standard and saying, hey, we're not going to let you into our community or give you any shine until you prove yourself. And then you have another group of people on Pulse chain saying, hey, we should be really nice and welcoming and inviting to these people because it will add value on to Pulse chain. And I think both of those approaches are horrible, because on one, you're not listening to information coming in, and on the other one, you're inviting all of the creeps and trolls and thieves, right? So I like the approach that Ragstoriches and Crypto Heartbeat have taken, where they take a reasonable approach to vetting these projects and sitting down and having open conversations saying, okay, what is it your team are doing? How are you proving it? And things like that, instead of just taking one side or the other against it. What do you think someone that's not a nerd could do to try and figure out what the code is and how good the code is on some of these projects?
Well, for a non-technical person, it's really, really hard. It's tough, because there's, even the audits, like, they may not catch every bug. They may not know everything that's going on. So it's even for a technical person like me, it's even hard to trust. I can't read the whole Solidity contract and, realize, oh, they put in a little back door here with this one command. That's, even for me, that would be extreme to find. So you got to be suspicious.
So really what we need
opinion.
in Hex is we need a council of nerds that we trust, like yourself. We need some OG nerds that have the Hexes community's best interest at heart, where you guys can get together and say, hey, this is what we think of the code of A, B, and C. Obviously, it's not like a guarantee or anything or an endorsement, but it could be because, at that point, you're trusting someone that knows more than you, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And and that's tough. You don't want to trust anybody in crypto. This is also supposed to be trustless, right?
Yeah.
It's tough.
The thing is, too, like, let's think about this. Let's say we get a plot of land out in New Mexico, right? Plot of land, we're going to build a city. Build a city out there. Do we not build the city because we know that there's going to be criminals that move in? No, not really. What we have to do, though, I think the best option here is to give people an opportunity to disinfect themselves. So that's what I do when I have them on stream. You got a court of public opinion. We have the facts. We get it out there on stream. It's in the record. It's on the YouTube ledger. And then we see what happens. We're not going to stop the stuff, but it would be up to us to police it. And because ultimately, I think everybody in this community is super focused on making sure that people win, making sure that people don't get hurt. And we can continue to do that, and we can ramp it up. And especially if, like, people like David and Hexray and myself and other influencers, if we're on the same page about that common goal, then it's going to be a whole lot easier to steer people in the right direction. So that's the way I see it. And, it's just our job as influencers. We have a little bit more of a responsibility to do that, I think.
Yeah. You got to use common sense, and that's going to be a big thing with a lot of the projects that come out. Do you retain your keys? That's required. If you have to give up your keys for anything, bad project, right? Like, don't touch it. You gotta be suspicious and wary,
Right. We got a question about the stable coins, USDC and USDT in particular. What do you think the value, or should you hold? What would you think about holding stable coins on Ethereum going into the fork?
I personally am excited for them. I personally, this is just me and not financial advice. I personally will be holding USDC on the fork because I want some PUSDC. I think there's a possibility that Circle, the company that creates and issues USDC, I think that they may, like recognize and choose to validate all those coins on Pulse Chain, and they may make them real. So you may get a free copy of all your US dollar coins if Circle wants to recognize the network. And they did Solana and Avalanche, all these other chains that are just forks of Ethereum, just like us. So it's now Tether is another. Let's let me separate that. I like US dollar coin. I'm a Coinbase customer. I live in that jurisdiction. Circle backs all the US dollar coins with actual dollars, not derivatives or equities or mortgages. No, they keep real cash in a bank. Tether is a Ponzi scam. Tether is a bunch of frauds that have been running around for years. They have no money backing that Tether. Tether is it's as fake as a dollar. It's backed by nothing, which is backed by nothing, right? Like it's a double layer of scam. So I wouldn't touch Tether with a 10-foot pole, but USDC, definitely. I'll keep some for the copy for Pulse.
Right. And I guess that the risk you're taking is that it may not have value on Pulse, but it should still at least have its value on Ethereum. I'm guessing, even if they don't honor it on Pulse, should still be honored on Tether. I'm sorry, Ethereum.
Yeah,
right?
that'll never
Yeah.
change. Yeah.
So you're not really risking your money by keeping it in your wallet as USDC. You just may not get a copy depending on what they choose, what Circle chooses to do.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Not exactly. You'll get a copy no matter what. Circle can't stop that.
Yeah, it's whether or not the copy has value.
Worth anything. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And here's a tip, like pro tip. I think even if it has no value, on day one, if you take your PUSDC that you got for free, you can go to Pulse Swap and just dump it for whatever pulse you can get. Probably nothing. Like it'll be cheap, but you got these free coins you got them for nothing anyway. Circle may or may not recognize them. So if you can get some extra pulse for them, it's free pulse. It's an airdrop. I'll take it. I'll take free money.
Yeah, that's a good point. Are there any tokens that we know are not going to be duplicated on Pulse?
I think Richard said that even the scams he wanted to destroy, like there's a couple smart contracts that he wanted to just completely delete. I don't think he's going to be able to go back and do them. I think we're taking all of Ethereum with us, whether we like it or not. So everything should be there no matter what it is, I think.
That would be great because I got an airdrop of a bunch of one of the copycats that's not doing well, but it's free money, right? And I went to take this free money out so I could dump it and buy more hex, and the fees were hundreds of dollars more than the value of the coin. And this is something that I let bake for over a year, right? They forced you into locking it up, kind of like Richard did with the free Bitcoin claim, right? So it was locked up. So I'm just like, all right, cool. I don't care. It's free money. I'll just cash it out and buy more hex. And when I went to do that on the Ethereum, the Ethereum fees were so, what's it called? Non-optimized. Like they're de-optimized. Is that a word? They were unoptimized. And yeah, the fee was insane. Like I'd be losing money going to claim this money. So if it did show up on Pulse, I'm more than happy to dump that on Pulse and pay cheaper fees and throw that into Pulse and Hex.
Yeah, if whatever we won't name this particular token, but if those guys make a website that connects to the Pulse chain smart contract, then it should work. You should be able to get your copy on that side. You'll be able to unlock it or unstake it on Pulse for a fraction of a penny, like dust, and then boom, you'll have your tokens and you can dump them for more Pulse. So yeah, that's totally a possibility.
Now here's a really good question. How many hexes do you see being created by forks in the future besides just the two that we know of, one on Ethereum and one on Pulse?
Oh wow, good question.
Let's say this. So you got a 15-year contract. You're part of the Cuatro Cinco Club, 5555, baby.
Yep.
Right. And I remember hearing Marco, the Hexcan, talk about this on Twitter on a little video. And he was saying, look, you know, and I already thought about this too, because ETH 2.0 is going to have to be a fork. It's not going to be an upgrade, in my opinion. So once Ethereum copies Pulse's code, just like Tron copied Ethereum, they're going to come out and they're going to try to reverse engineer Pulse, I believe. They're going to look at the code and be like, oh, we need to do what Pulse did to pull off ETH 2.0, right? So I'm calling that's already going to take place. So Ethereum's going to copy Pulse, and then they're going to do a fork and call it ETH 2.0. So when they do that, I assume they'd have to do a system state. So you'd have a hex on Ethereum, a hex on Ethereum 2.0, and then you'd also have a hex on Pulse. But as we know, let's say 5 years down the road, Pulse starts getting congested, and the community says, let's just fork it again and have a second Pulse network to relieve the traffic. Well, at that point, you'd have 2 hex on Pulse and 2 hex on ETH. So that's 4 hex. And that's just in the near future. That's just in the first 5 years. So going out 15 years, how many people do you see airdropping and forking the success of Pulse? And how many hex could we end up with?
Wow, that's a good question. That's a good question. It could happen that way. Yeah, especially if in ETH version 1, if the miners, you know, say, screw you, Vitalik, we're not moving. We're staying right here on ETH 1 and we're not changing anything. So that the traditional, you know, hex that you know today, that'll go on forever. And you're right, ETH version 2 will fork off of that. And then you'll have Pulse Chain. I don't know if anybody's going to fork Pulse Chain. I'm not so sure about that. I don't know how popular it would be, to be honest. But then again, 5 years from now, if we run out of capacity and if it was an official Richard Hart production, then sure. I mean, totally, you know, that could be possible, man. That could totally happen.
Yeah, Renob Ksid says it's like malls, but not enough space for all stores. Another mall pops up. So that's the analogy that they're making. I mean, and I just look at how many Bitcoin forks have we had? Like most of the crypto space is forks of Bitcoin's code, right?
Yep.
And in some places you got an airdrop. Most, you know, so I think we're up to like 12 or 13 Bitcoins if you had just bought Bitcoin in the beginning, right?
At least, yeah.
And that's in 11 years. And Bitcoin didn't have half of the pumpamentals and features that Hex does. So I'm just thinking that there's more of an incentive for people to fork and copy and airdrop on, you know, Hex. And then how many airdrops do you think Pulse people will see in their wallets to try and buy people's attention on Pulse?
I mean, you'll see some of those scam ones like on Ethereum where it's like a dust attack. They'll give you like some crazy shitcoin. There'll be some of that. I don't see anybody airdropping to the Pulse sacrifice set because it's already been done, right? All that money's already been sacrificed. It went to where it's got to go. So I do see other products, and they've already announced that there will be other people who are stealing the idea of a sacrifice, and then the money gets funneled to them. So I'm sure you'll see a bunch of sacrifice phases for a bunch of different projects, but I don't know about airdrops.
We already are seeing a lot of those sacrifice phases. That's been copied tremendously.
Yeah. And if it's not a Richard Hart production, I'm hesitant, to say the least.
Yeah. So let's talk about this real quick. We're talking about amount of money sacrificed, for example, and everybody's trying to figure out what the opening price for Pulse is going to be. Richard led on recently here during one of his talks. He said, hey, the total supply of Pulse is going to be about 150 trillion. Okay, so he said that. Now, the question that I have, in order to make this equation whole, we've got to figure out what the initial market cap would be. And then the question then becomes, how do we know what initial market caps are? What determines that? So I've heard some things in the past where you take the total amount of liquidity or anything that was raised prior to the launch. A general rule of thumb, it was you multiply that by anywhere between 6 to 10. And then that kind of gives you some type of idea. Now that seems absolutely crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. But if we were to do that, if we were to multiply it by 7, for example, with the amount of money that was sacrificed, that would put us at an initial price of about 0.0007. So 3 zeros and a 7. Now, I think that seems high to me based on math that I was doing probably 6 months ago. But at the same time, it would make sense because those folks who sacrificed, they will be up. They will at least break even or be up on day one. And I think that's probably what Richard wants. So that math kind of does make sense to me. Have you guys heard anything about how market cap is actually determined prior to launch?
No, because the market cap is just price multiplied by circulating supply. There's no way to know what Pulse Chain's going to launch at.
Who determines that? Is it just the first bid?
First bid, yep. First
The
price.
two things that I've seen people trying to value what Pulse would be like if it launched today are the late sacrifices. And that's probably not a very good or very scientific way to measure what it would be worth, but it does give you an idea of what some people might be willing to pay on an exchange if they were desperate, right? If there's not many out there for sale, some people are willing to pay a lot today and just hang on to it for a long time or speculate, right? The other way is just to take all the money that's ever been sacrificed and divide it by, you said 1.5 trillion or 150 trillion. And that's where you got the 007 number, right?
The 0007 number.
0007.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like they're both kind of shots in the dark as far as I think.
Yeah.
But it's nice to know. It's good to know what that initial supply is going to be, I think. And then in terms of what happened on the last day of sacrifice, where the hex guy came in and swooped up all the supply, because that's what happened too. So supply is going to be constrained. I think it was 95%, 90 or 95%, I believe. Wow, so that's going to be really good in terms of price performance initially, just to be able to get your hands on some of that stuff.
Now, watching Ethereum's evolution and birth and progression, what types of things do you think the Pulse Chain devs and Richard have learned from watching Ethereum's missteps as far as their upgrades and their journey over the last 7 or 8 years?
Well, I think they're kind of two different animals, because for Pulse Chain and Richard and his team, there's no venture capital funds. Right? This is Richard's investment. It's his baby. He's put in all the capital to build it. Whereas Vitalik and the Ethereum Foundation and all those guys, they had big bankers and venture capitalists. They had all these guys shoveling them money. And then those guys say, all right, you work for us now and you're going to do what we want and we want our money back. So, that's why that's why he's so slow to make changes. He doesn't want to rock the boat or hurt the value of the project. So I feel like the Ethereum guys are very paralyzed and they're very slow to react, very slow to upgrade. Whereas Richard and Pulse Chain, we can move as fast as we want. We don't care. We don't care what anybody thinks. We'll do whatever the hell we want. So I think we're just way more free.
And those venture capitalists are the ones that got the 3 cent per Ethereum, right? Give or take, somewhere around there. Like they were getting 15? Like it for.
Yeah, I thought it was like 15 cents each. Like day one, you could have pre-purchased ETH for 15 cents. Like, yeah, that's amazing. So
I heard that the VCs got it for 3 cents a pop. Oh. It launched at $3 and crashed to 15.
Okay.
And then bounced. So but I mean, obviously,
that's amazing.
Anyone that had bought anywhere around, even if you'd bought the $3 hex, the $3 Ethereum, the same way that we FOMO'd in on day one of the adoption amplifier. I mean, we were buying a third of a penny or a half of a penny hex and kicking ourselves for a really long time. Right? We're like, what was I should have saved my powder, like Richard said. So
but you look back today, and even if you did that, you're probably a millionaire today. So it's like,
Yeah, so I've been basing a lot of my price predictions off of Ethereum's performance and knowing that our performance, or believing that our performance will be better.
I think
So, I
that's
mean,
I like that.
that's the pattern I've been studying, is what did Ethereum do with all the problems that it had?
Because we should do it faster, definitely.
Mhm.
And even back then, like there were no cool smart contracts on Ethereum. Like it was just ICOs and rug pulls. Like I was there in 2017, you know, like it was crap. And so even Ethereum today is way better than 6 years ago. And Pulse Chain is going to be even better than ETH. So it's, yeah, we're starting off with a really solid blockchain.
Well,
And
then think about the
gonna be
users
good.
too. Think about the amount of people that are participating in cryptocurrency now as compared to back then. That's another big part.
Yep.
It's like there is
Exponential.
capital flowing. And I also think this is something that we need to consider. Ethereum and Pulse Chain, they're going to be tied together in many different ways in terms of price performance. Now, of course, Pulse can outperform initially like crazy, but in terms of Bitcoin to Ethereum and then Ethereum to Pulse, those connections, when we get the supply shock from Bitcoin halving, you know, it might be an awesome opportunity here in about 3 years or so for Pulse to run extremely hard. So it's going to be really neat at launch. And then if we go through a regular cycle that we have gone through with Bitcoin over the past couple years, or, you know, over the past 10 years, when we get to that bottom of the bear market, whatever that is with Bitcoin, and then we have, and then we shoot up from there, I think that's really going to be Pulse's massive time to shine, in my opinion. So I think we will, you know, you're looking at price performance. It doesn't go straight up all the time with Ethereum and Bitcoin, but you get massive, massive runs in very short spans of time, 6 months, 8 months. So yeah, it's going to be cool now. We're going to launch. We're going to do some really neat stuff. Depending on where the timeline falls with the halving from Bitcoin and its connection with Ethereum, and then its subsequent connection to Pulse, we'll see a big run in, you know, 3 to 5 years from now. Huge run.
And David,
Because I
you got your first delegated votes with Jeremiah Johnson. He says you're the first guy he's going to stake his pulse with
Yeah, I
as a
appreciate the
validator. So you
support.
got one. You got one. Nobody is committed to Rags yet, so it's 1-0 right now between the two of you becoming validators.
dude, I just threaten everybody in Telegram. If you don't vote for me, I'm deleting this group right now. I think they have too much emotional equity in that Telegram group at this point to say no to me.
Oh, that's hilarious. Any thoughts on security when we go into Pulse that's not, you know, any different than what we're dealing with right now? I mean, security with Hex is probably going to be the same security measures you want to take with Pulse, I imagine. Right.
Yeah. Whatever you've already done for your MetaMask, that is your security. Because you're just getting a clone on your existing wallet. So if you've already done the right thing, get your seed words on a piece of metal, you know, or a piece of paper, offline, not on a file on your computer. If you've already done that, you're in great shape. It's the same. It's literally identical. So nothing will change as far as security from ETH and Pulse.
And in terms of, I'm going to address this too. If you're into Hex right now and you're freaking out about what's happening with the Hex price, you got to really try to reverse your brain, because you're used to things going up and it being good. Actually, things going down needs to be good for you. Things going up is cool, but things going down is incredible.
You should be sad when it goes up, because that's when you
Yeah.
sell to make profit. And when
Yeah,
it goes
and
down, like now, you should be happy because now you get to buy your Hex back cheaper.
Yes. It's so hard. It's so hard to do. This is the cheapest price that we've had in 112 days. All right. Cheapest price we've had in 112 days. Do not get sad. Do not get upset. Just accumulate. If you have any questions about what we're telling you right now, you can go to tradingview.com and pull up any chart and go all the way back from Bitcoin or Ethereum or Cardano, whatever the case may be, and just look and see what happened initially with those chains. It's the same type of stuff here. This is completely normal, and this is massive opportunity. Now, YouTubers say that, and they say, "Oh, you're just shilling. You're just trying to get everybody pumped up." Blah 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 blah. No, that's the game. That's the crypto game. You got to get on with it. You got to get used to that. Change your brain.
Shout out to Sensei Dozy. They said that earlier. Best day to buy hacks in the past 5 months.
Oh yeah.
And I asked Wave 3 this question on Maddie's birthday stream. I'm going to ask both of you guys. What is your guys' strategy for always having some dry powder to buy the dips? Do you guys have a money management strategy that you use to always have something on the sides to buy the dips?
Yeah, if you want to go ahead, Ragstoriches.
Yeah. So for me, I've had bags that I've held for multiple years, and I'm already way up. And in my mind, if you're a beginner, you need to create a nice little portfolio that you're just going to accumulate with. And what you start doing as you gain ROI, you just shave off of that, and you're multiplying that money by dumping it in projects on day one. So I sell off some of my stuff from the past, bags that I've held for 5 years or whatever the case may be. But if you're new, you just need to focus on the fundamental, focus on security first. As long as you don't nuke your account, you're going to be pretty good in this game. Just survive, just accumulate, survive, don't nuke. And just add to your position DCA. If you don't know what DCA is, you can go to my channel, you can Google it, or YouTube it anywhere. I've got videos on it myself, but that's what I do. I shave off of previous returns, and then I add to new projects.
Well said. I completely agree with that strategy.
Yes.
That's basically how I got here too. I just dollar cost average from every paycheck. You find the proper products like Hex, Ethereum, soon to be Pulse Chain. You just buy a couple $100 every paycheck. Just keep stacking. You got to build you build the bag. First, you got to get a portfolio. You got to get the coins, and that takes time. Sometimes a year or two. You may just be buying and never selling. That's okay. Then once you hit all-time highs, you sell some, but not all. Right? I'm big on that. Like you said, as it gets higher and higher and higher over years and years, you start peeling off profit, and then when these dips come, I like to have some dry powder. And, I sell when it's high, and I buy when we're down low. So yeah, I sort of it's like swing trading kind of, but it's like swing investing.
Yeah, it's when your 100x coin that you invested in 2 years ago, you take that money and you dump it into a coin that 1,000x's. You just did 100,000x with that money, with that $100.
Yeah.
So it's all about multiplying that return, and people don't think that way. But just be patient; it will come. Try not to chase the shiny objects. Now, let me ask y'all both this: What if you guys were brand new to crypto, and you got to see a stream like this, and you got to be in a community like this? Would we not all be billionaires? I mean, there's so much good advice. So much good advice with everybody in this community, and everybody's looking out for I wish I had this when I first started, because I burned through so much money like an idiot.
Me too. 100%. Because I used to watch all the old Furus.
Yeah.
All the people that Hexicans make fun of and hate on now, those are the guys we were watching in 2017 because there was nobody else around. Nobody had any idea.
Yep.
Yeah, I was actually meeting some of these Furus at meetups. I go down to Anarchapulco and meet a whole bunch of big name YouTube stars down there and rub shoulders with them. And slowly over time, the more that Richard came out and proved himself, and the fact they wouldn't give him any respect, any shine, any mention, I was like, oh, I've lost complete respect for all those guys. And it came down to the point where it's just Hexicans and Richard that I follow now. Really, I mean, the market sniper, he's a good guy, and he's given us some shine and some recognition. So I do like the market sniper, but he's obviously into the trading world where we're into the investing for a longer term. So that's good. But yeah, I'm right there with you. And I was my strategy is identical to yours, David. Is I always try to keep 10% liquid. And every time I sit down and I onboard someone, I tell them to keep 10% liquid, because that 10%, 9 times out of 10, I've seen that 10% be equal to the amount that they put in.
Yeah.
So at that point, I say, look, you can withdraw your liquid hex today and play with house money. You have zero risk at that point.
That's it.
But by that point, they get greedy and they're like, no,
Let it ride. Let it ride. Yeah, double down. Let it ride.
Exactly.
It's like,
Exactly.
okay.
But I started with 10% liquid, and now I have 1%. I have less than 1% liquid because of the T shares. The T shares grow so quickly, especially on the longer term ones, that it doesn't matter if you try to keep 10% liquid, you can't, because the daily interest that you get paid, which is the same as DCAing, it's the same as dollar cost averaging. It just grows so fast you can't keep up with it swing trading. But swing trading is a great way to keep some powder. So like, for instance, depending on how big your account is, you might have to wait for the price to go up 5 cents or 10 cents to make it worth the fees, or you might just need to hang on for a couple more years for it to get big enough to swing trade. But every time mine goes up to a certain point, I'll take 10% profit and I'll move it over into USDC. And then when it drops a certain amount, I take 50% of those US dollars and go back into Hex. So in a way, I'm pumping.
Sold, right?
What's that?
And you try to buy with the 50% of your USDC, and you buy back Hex. You're trying to buy back the same amount of Hex you just sold for that whole stack, right?
Yeah, so over time, my dollars and my Hex are both accumulating.
You're both growing.
But you've got to have a lot of powder to do something like that, or have a lot of patience to do something like that. Because I have a lot of people. Yeah, there's a lot of people with $300 and they say, teach me how to do that. And I'm like, you don't have enough, right? Let me flip my camera back on.
Yeah. You need more than $300
so
in order to make moves.
So this is funny. I got my phone pulled up here, and I was flipping through one of my social media accounts, and I don't know how, but I was friends with some person on here, and this is what he posted yesterday. I'm not going to give the name, but to all you new folks, if you see anything or hear anything that's similar to what I'm about to tell you, this is red flaggish, okay? In terms of Furus. So he says 3.4 billion liquidated in the crypto market overnight. 385,000 leveraged traders fully wrecked. We'll say XYZ Capital, highly unbothered. So that's his company. We'll say XYZ Capital. Still up on 30 plus entries. Last chance. The next dip will be the avalanche. We are going to exit 75 to 90% of the portfolio then before everything comes tumbling down Q1 of 2022. We've been pretty accurate so far. And then he shills his channel. So I'm sitting there. I think I'm like in Target or something. We call it Target over here on this coast. I'm like, should I respond? Should I do it? And he doesn't know anything about what I do at all. So then I just put, based on what? Because he said it's going to come crumbling down. I said, based on what? He says, Brandon, the market structure and prior data. You also can't ignore everything else going on with the global economy. Financial markets operate in cycles that repeat throughout history. Wow. I was being educated. I couldn't believe it. The cycle with crypto is no different than past cycles. Yes, it is. Once we have this last leg up, everything will correct and it won't be a 20 to 30% dip. This will correlate with stocks as well. Dow, NASDAQ, S&P. I wanted to tell him, and I tell folks this in my Telegram, if you had DCA'd $400 a month from January of 2018 to March 21st of 2021, if you DCA'd $400 a month, you would have made $140,000.
Wow.
Okay. And this guy is telling people, if you look at the charts and based on history, it doesn't matter. Why the hell would you be selling anything? All you need to do is be buying. Just keep it simple. You're going to wreck yourself. So folks, if you're new out there and you see stuff like that's the stuff we're talking about. All right. Very, very important. Be very, very red flaggish about that. Just do not go to Hexray Vision's channel. David Feeder, he seems like a legit dude, but not Hexray.
Yeah. Run. I'm just trying to get those sweet sponsors that, some of the fooders get, I just want to be able to buy that steak dinner or whatever it is. No, seriously. And Renob Kasid, he was talking about a steel plate. You can engrave your seed words on a steel plate. I've made friends with a couple of machinists in town, so I'm going to get them to actually inscribe them on metal plates for me and my family. And there's a lot to be said about getting your seed words on a metal plate. Obviously, make sure that they're the right ones and that you know how to enter them in and recover a wallet. So you want to practice that before you do this. But at that point, you can delete everything off your electronics. You can delete Metamask. You can delete all your other stuff. And that's a really, really secure way to keep your seed phrase.
It freaks me
right
out
there.
though to have the engravers see my seed phrase too.
Yeah.
That freaks me out.
Well, there's one guy whose engraver is so old that it doesn't have a cache or a memory. So if I'm in there, I'm the only one in that room. Supposedly, I can put in my seed phrase and there's no memory. The other guy has a newer one where he would have to go in and delete the memory off the cache. But they're both people that I've onboarded. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I'm thinking about getting that for my family and friends for.
So is that a thing
for
already?
Christmas.
Is that like a business? Because couldn't we create
It should be.
engrave your own metal kits and just send them?
Well, they have those. So that's what I got.
Is that a business already?
If you go to hexsafe.win.
Oh,
yes.
And then
that's an at-home engraving kit.
Yeah,
he sells. It looks really good.
Good.
Really good.
So I thought I was smart, but I figured it was done already.
The reason I like the laser cutter and the CNC machine is because my handwriting is so god awful. Just with a pen, I can only imagine what it's going to look like with a shaky engraver. It's just going to look like some really bad love letter to someone.
It's not. Can't read it back later. You're like, God, what did I write down?
I won't be able to read it back. I'll protect my money for myself, and that's unfortunately what the number one way of losing crypto is: losing keys and losing wallets and losing hardware devices. That's the number. Way more has been lost than stolen in crypto, which is hard to believe when you see how much has been stolen lately, but it's true. More is lost than stolen. So
absolutely.
True
and Pulse Lord says the small hand engraver is cheap too. So that's really good. Now, someone was saying on a stream, there's the BIP or the 130 something words that are used to create the seed phrase. And I guess no two of them are the same when you go 4 or 5 letters out. Is that true?
Supposedly, if you have a 24-word seed phrase, you only need the first 4 letters of each word. In theory, correct.
Right. And then there's also some really tricky stuff where you can put them one off or in a certain order that you and whoever you trust to leave your seed phrase to if something should happen to you. There's a way to do it one off or change things just a little bit. So even if they get that seed word phrase, they still don't have enough information to import the wallet. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
So sometimes people just do it one off, 1 or 2 off.
Yeah. Yep. There's a bunch of different patterns you can do. Yeah. Swap the first letter and each shift them all down one row. And you'd have to look it up. And I'm not an expert on that. And I've never tried that, but it is possible.
Yeah. It says I need to get a gun safe, not the handheld Sentry one that I have. Yeah, I have the handheld one that you can actually carry and walk out of the house with.
Yeah, a little.
So I definitely need something more secure at my house for sure.
Yeah, those ones you bolt to the concrete in your basement, and you screw it in with concrete screws. That's the stuff you want, so they're not leaving without it.
Renob says I tattooed my dog, still waiting for the hair to grow back. That's not a bad idea. Granted, if the dog passes away, you're going to have to, have your dog, taxidermied,
stuff them.
And then you'd have to know where to shave the dog in case you need to see that phrase again. That's not a bad idea.
That's crazy.
I tattooed my wife, still waiting for the hair to grow back. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah. Is there? I was hoping for more more questions from the audience about technical stuff, because I know we haven't finished mining the brain that is inside of David's head yet. So we should definitely do this again for sure.
Totally. Yeah, I'm always around.
Maybe not weekly, but something we can figure out where we're going to be hanging out. Crypto Heartbeats in the stream. Hey, how's it going, Matt?
Crypto Heartbeat. What's up? I mean, David probably has more IQ in his beard than me, not kid, or anybody else in the chat. We should make David Feeder memes, like the Chuck Norris memes, but just talk about his like beard's IQ or something.
You guys flatter me. I'm just a normal guy. I'm just an average Mexican like everybody else.
No, and you're a ginger. You're not normal.
Well, that's true. That is true. I'm a crazy ginger. That is, yeah. Gingers are a little touched, so I'll give you that.
It is. It is. Now, that being said, how long have you been working in IT, David?
Oh God, it just came up on my 10-year anniversary.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been 10 years since I've been out of college, and I went to college for computer networking. So so it's been about 10 years. So I've been in the industry in the tri-state area doing networks and servers, desktops, anything basically for business.
Yeah. Crypto Heartbeat wants to know, how much pulse should you have to do a validator node? So if you wanted to be a validator, how much pulse do you think you need?
I don't know yet, but I'm going to guess at least 100 million, probably more. And that's just for the validator. Then you're going to probably need 500 million worth of votes, multiple billion votes. It's going to be competitive. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot.
Does your shirt say 100% staked?
100% staked. It does.
Valley Brand is giving you a shout out for that. And I got to kick my camera on again. Hang on. Talks amongst yourselves.
Well, I'm going to show my shirt off too for the new people. This is very important to me.
Gangsta rapper.
Yeah.
I
actually wore this. I wore this out last night, and I didn't get my ass beat, so that's a win. Can't hear you, Hexray. And he's out.
Oh, bye, buddy.
Well, dude, this is what we do, man. This is what it's all about. Hi, my name's Brandon Davis. I'm with Ragstoriches. Please do not like, comment, and subscribe. And please follow David Feeder because he has a beautiful beard. That thing probably takes up a lot of calories, too.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I stopped. It's like I haven't shaved in 2 years. Something like that. I just stopped shaving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
awesome. And David, where can people follow you?
So I'm on YouTube, just David Feeder. I'm on Twitter, David Feeder. That's the big spots. I'm on Telegram too, but I don't go on Telegram too much. But yeah, hit me up on Twitter if you want to talk. And I stream a little bit when I feel like it. So yeah.
Cool.
Stream more, David.
Stream more, David.
I know I should. I know.
We'll just drag you kicking and screaming onto ours is what we'll do.
I prefer it. This is so much more fun. I'd rather be a guest. I want to talk to other Hexicans. I don't just want to just me on a show. I feel like it's boring. I'm sure people want to watch it for technical reasons, but I want to talk to guys like you. I want to be a guest.
For sure. I'm so thankful for you guys joining me. I really appreciate it. Sandy B says, "Feed the feeder." And a lot of people really, really appreciate the memes, Rag. So your responsibility to the Hex community is first and foremost as a meme supplier. So don't ever forget that.
Peddle memes. I'm a peddler of memes.
We love memes. I love memes. They're beautiful. I need them every day.
Hey, you guys can vote for me on that. When that question is going to come inevitably, it's going to be like the best memes in Hex.
Who's the meme lord of Hexicans?
Come on, guys. Come on. Y'all know in chat. You guys know what's up. All right.
Awesome. Okay,
David,
cool.
I'm tweeting something for you right now. And tweeted.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Everybody go vote on my tweet that I just tweeted for David. It's going to convince him not to be a weird, creepy ginger like me.
Hey, I can't help it. We're creepy gingers. What can I say? It's just how it goes.
All right, we
hilarious.
wrap
And
this thing up, man.
yeah,
What's
we're
up?
gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna kill the stream here for a second. If you guys want to stick around for 2 seconds, and we can figure out what our next step in world domination is. But again, I mean, you're on my channel if you're watching this, Hexray Vision, Twitter, Hexray Vision. Follow my wife, Hexray Chick. I'm thinking about changing my name to Mr. Hexray Chick. And that way I'll get more followers. But anyways, I'm gonna
You
stop
got to
this.
go pull you just Google Russian model in Google Images and use that as your profile picture. Guaranteed 1,000 views or 1,000 subs in like a week.
Yeah.
Probably
I
true.
used to get really flattered. Like, look, these supermodels are following me, and then I realized I was on the internet. So
I countershell all those guys with Hex. I'm like, hey, check me out at hex.com/testimonials. That's how I reply to everything with it. It's a scam.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm gonna end it here, and then we'll chat a little bit in the green room, and we'll talk to you guys later. So thanks
for having me,
again.
guys.
Bye,
Hex
chat.
fans.
I hate you all. Bye.